Welcome back to Old Charles, the place where we dig into the stories hidden in our pocket change. Today, we're tackling a question I get all the time. Alex, I found a 1977 nickel. Is it worth anything? Should I be rushing to the bank? We see them all the time, lurking in coin jars and handfuls of change. It's the 1977 Jefferson Nickel. On the surface, it's one of the most common coins of the modern era. But as we always say here, every coin has a story, and sometimes, the most common coins can have rare, valuable secrets. So, grab your coin jars, and let's embark on a deep dive into the 1977 nickel. We're going to explore its history, its staggering mintage numbers, the key factors that actually give it value, and we'll uncover the one, single error variety that could turn this common 5-cent piece into a $100 treasure. To understand the 1977 nickel, we have to go back to the bicentennial fever of 1976. America had just celebrated its 200th birthday, and the coinage world was still buzzing with special quarters, halves, and dollars. By 1977, things were getting back to normal. The Jefferson Nickel, with its classic design by Felix Schlag, was continuing its long run, a design that began back in 1938. In 1977, Jimmy Carter was president, Star Wars was blowing minds in theaters, and the economy was facing inflation. This is a crucial point. The nickel was still made of a copper-nickel alloy, but its purchasing power was shrinking. This meant the U.S. Mint had to produce a lot of them to keep up with circulation demand. That's a combined total of over 962 million nickels. Just for 1 year. To put that in perspective, the U.S. Mint produced about 1.3 billion of all denominations of coins last year. In 1977, nickels alone accounted for a huge portion of production. So, with nearly 1 billion coins made, the sheer abundance is the number one reason why a typical, worn 1977 nickel you find in your change is still worth exactly 5 cents. A heavily circulated 1977 nickel with its details worn smooth is a 5-cent coin. But a 1977 nickel that was saved from circulation, that stayed bright and untouched, is a different story. We grade coins on a 70-point scale. A coin that looks like it just came from the mint is called mint state. For a 1977 nickel in mint state, MS 60 to MS 70, values can actually be quite respectable. A 1977 or 1977 D nickel in MS 63 condition might bring $1 to $2. But if you can find one in gem MS 65 condition, you're looking at $5 to $10. And in super high grades like MS 66 or MS 67, values can jump to $20, $50, or even more. The record prices are for perfect MS 67 Plus and MS 68 examples, which have sold for over $100. The key is that the coin must be pristine, with original luster, no bag marks, and no contact scratches. This is a big one for Jefferson nickel collectors. On the reverse of the coin, Monticello has a set of steps. On most circulated coins, and even on many uncirculated ones, these steps are mushy and not fully struck. A coin that has at least 5, and preferably 6, fully separated steps is highly desirable. This is called the full steps (FS) designation. A 1977 nickel graded MS 65 is nice. But a 1977 nickel graded MS 65 full steps can be worth 5 to 10 times more than its non-FS counterpart. For the 1977 D, a high-grade full steps nickel is the true prize for condition-focused collectors, and now, for the moment you've been waiting for. The one thing that can turn your common 1977 nickel into a potential mini-fortune. I'm talking about the legendary 1977 D Jefferson Nickel, 5 cents full, Fassies, strike-through error. This is an incredibly rare and dramatic error. During the striking process, a piece of cloth, often thought to be from a canvas bag used to transport blank planchets, got stuck in the coin die. When the next planchet was struck, the design was imprinted onto the coin, but the cloth material. 1970s history. So, what's the final verdict on the 1977 nickel? For the vast majority of them, their value is sentimental and historical. They are a tangible link to the late 1970s, a workhorse of American commerce that if you can find one that is in spectacular, gem uncirculated condition, especially with full steps, it has legitimate collectible value. And if, by some miracle of the numismatic gods, you stumble upon that 1977, de fasces, strike-through error, then you have a true treasure on your hands, a coin that could be worth hundreds of dollars. The lesson here is that coin collecting is a hobby of patience, knowledge, and a keen eye. The most common coin can hide an extraordinary secret that we're diving deep into the story of a coin that's so common, we often overlook it, the humble nickel. It's been buying us candy bars, sodas, and gum for over 150 years. But its story is one of intrigue, espionage, a band design, and a fundamental shift in how America made its money. This is the complete history of the 5-cent nickel. Our story starts in a time when there was no nickel. In the early days of the United States, the smallest coins were made of silver. The 5-cent piece was the half dime. The very first 5-cent coin authorized by the U.S. Mint was actually the half dime, pronounced dime, in 1792, struck from silver. These were followed by various designs like the flowing hair and the liberty-seated half dime. But these tiny silver coins had problems. They were small, easy to lose, and as the value of silver fluctuated, especially during the Civil War, they often got hoarded and melted. The Civil War caused a massive coin shortage. People hoarded gold and silver, and the government started issuing fractional currency, basically, paper money in denominations as small as 3 cents. It was unpopular and flimsy. Enter Joseph Wharton, an industrialist and one of the most powerful nickel magnates in the world. He owned a massive nickel mine in Pennsylvania and had a huge surplus of the metal. Wharton began a relentless lobbying campaign in Congress, pushing for the use of nickel in our coinage. His timing was perfect. The government needed a new, hard-wearing coin that wouldn't be hoarded. The result was the Shield nickel of 1866. This was the first official nickel. It was made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a composition that would remain for over a century. It was tough, it didn't rust, and it was distinctly different from the silver coins. The design featured a large numeral, 5, surrounded by stars and rays on the reverse. The rays were removed in 1867 because they made striking the coins difficult. Joseph Wharton had one. For decades, his mines would supply the mint, and his name would later be immortalized on the prestigious Wharton School of Business. In 1883, the Shield nickel was replaced by the Liberty Head nickel, designed by Charles E. Barber, and here's where the story gets fun. The first version of this coin in 1883 had a large Roman numeral, V5, on the reverse, but it did not have the word cents. Can you see the problem? A swindler named Josh Tumblety realized that the coin was about the same size as a $5 gold piece. He had the brilliant, if criminal, idea to gold-plate the new nickels and pass them off as $5 coins. This simple con, known as the racketeer nickel scam, worked shockingly well. The U.S. Mint caught on very quickly and mid-year added the word cents on the reverse. This makes the 1883 no cents nickel a famous and collectible issue, but the legend of the Liberty Head nickel doesn't end there. The most famous and valuable nickel of all time is the 1913 Liberty Head nickel. Only 5 specimens were ever minted, and it was done under mysterious circumstances. The design was officially changed to the Buffalo nickel in 1913, so these 5 coins were almost certainly struck by a mint employee named Samuel W. Brown without official authorization. Their discovery shocked the collecting world, and today, each of the 5 is worth tens of millions of dollars. In the early 1900s, President Theodore Roosevelt pushed for more beautiful, classical U.S. coinage. This led to one of the most iconic coins ever made, the Buffalo nickel, designed by James Earl Fraser. Fraser said he wanted to create a coin that was truly American. The obverse features a composite portrait of 3 Native American chiefs, Iron Tail, 2 Moons, and John Big Tree. The reverse features an American bison, Black Diamond, from the New York Central Park Zoo. It was a masterpiece. But it had a major flaw: the design wore down too quickly. The date and 5 cents were on the highest points of the coin and were often the first things to rub away in circulation. Despite this, its powerful imagery has made it a perennial favorite. In 1938, to mark the 200th anniversary of Thomas Jefferson's birth, the Mint held a public competition for a new nickel design. The winner was a German-born artist, Felix Schlag. His original design was far more detailed, almost like a medal, but the Mint required him to simplify it. The result was the coin we know today, Jefferson on the obverse, and his estate, Monticello, on the reverse. It entered circulation in late 1938. With World War II raging, nickel became a critical war material for making armor plate. So, from late 1942 to 1945, the composition of the nickel changed. They removed the nickel metal entirely. These war nickels are made of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. That's right, they contain silver. To distinguish them, the Mint placed a large mint mark above the dome of Monticello, and for the first time ever, the Philadelphia Mint used a P. Mint mark. That if you find a nickel from 1942 to 1945 with a large mint mark on the reverse, you have a silver war nickel. It's the only circulating U.S. coin where you can regularly find a P mint mark from this era. After the war, in 1946, the nickel returned to its standard copper-nickel composition. The Jefferson Nickel has seen several major changes since then. The Westward Journey Nickel series was released to commemorate the Lewis and Clark bicentennial. This gave us beautiful new designs like the keelboat and the American bison returning to the coin. The nickel returned to a consistent front and back, obverse/reverse, design, but with a major update. The Felix Schlag portrait of Jefferson was replaced by a more modern, forward-facing portrait. The reverse Monticello was also redesigned based on Schlag's original, more detailed artwork. And the story isn't over. The cost of making a nickel today is about 8 cents, it costs the government more to make it than it's worth. This, negative seigniorage, means the future of the nickel, just like the penny, is constantly debated. Will it be changed in composition? Will it be eliminated entirely? Only time will tell. So, the next time you get a nickel in your change, take a moment to look at it. You're holding a piece of American history. A story that spans from industrial lobbying in the 1860s, to Wild West cons, to the secret silver issues of World War II, and to the ongoing debate about the very nature of physical money.